Kev, a completely different 4-2 to what we saw on Tuesday night. It just didn't seem to work out for whatever reason today.
No, I think anything that could have gone wrong did go wrong. Obviously we lost Josh Key early this morning with illness. Sweens had been ill for the last 3 days and hasn't been able to train, and unfortunately he couldn't continue. He gave it a good go, and it just meant that we're a little bit light on bodies, and I think we've got to make sure that we look at ourselves first as staff in terms of getting them prepared, getting them ready for the game. I think we did everything that we could, but when the game started they looked a little bit flat, and then obviously the free kick goes under the wall, which is a disappointing way to concede. And then it just seemed to hit them. It just seemed to hit the group, and they didn't really gather themselves. And what I've said in the changing room is that I'll give them credit for the last half an hour in that they didn't completely go under. They tried to play and they tried to go. I'm not going to go for them because I think that they've given physically everything they could give this week. It's probably a game too far in the end in terms of the physical nature of stuff. And there's been a lot, there's been a lot going on. So I'm really, really disappointed that we got ourselves in the position that we did. As much as we're missing players, as much as we're low on numbers, it's just next man up, and we've got to show more leadership individually. And leadership isn't screaming and shouting and hollowing and throwing your arms up about. It's just being the best you can be. It's leading by example, if that's what it comes to. And I didn't think there was enough of us that did that in the game today. And so you go into the last half an hour, they kept on pushing. I thought Archie Collins was excellent to try and push the team on. The positives that I take from the game are it's great that Sonny Cox gets his first goal. I thought Ed James to come on in that kind of situation as a 17-year-old for your League One debut, I thought he did really very well, all things considered. But yeah, we've got to learn. We've got to do more. We've got to learn as staff. We've got to learn as players, because Tuesday, Saturday, I was delighted with how we played. Today, just disappointed with the overall demeanour. I think there may be a little bit of feeling sorry for ourselves when it went against us, and we can't do that. There's no time. There's no time in football for that. There's no time to allow yourself to do it. So, credit for what they did in the last little bit. I think I got the impression anyway that the support felt it as well, because they got behind the team, and that's not easy to do when you're watching your team at home 4-1 down. Sonny gets his second and they cheer, and I think there's an appreciation for an academy player getting his goal, which is brilliant. There's certainly an understanding within the fan base of what goes off here, how it works at the club, and the resources, and success isn't always winning games. That there was a little bit of success there for a couple of individuals. So disappointed. We need to have a real good look at what this week's going to look like in terms of preparing those players, because I think we've lost Sweens now, suspended for next week, and so we are really, really very low on bodies right now.
Uncharacteristic is probably the best way to describe the performance. Like you said, we let our heads drop at times, but picked ourselves back up at the end. It felt like that second goal was the real killer. Have you had a chance to watch it back? Because it felt like it looked quite offside.
He was just offside. It probably wasn't as clear cut as what we all felt at the time, but he was just offside. But again, you can't control the referees, you can't control the linesmen, you can't control those things. They are completely out of your control. You have to defend the set play better, you have to defend the seconds better, and then if it goes against you and if it goes in, you have to pick yourself up immediately. It cannot be 5 minutes down the road, because further damage can be done there, and that I think was probably the story of today. We got there, and we're a young team and we're learning, and I've got a lot of time to allow those players to try and learn from that. But we cannot feel sorry for ourselves at any point. We cannot get your head down, even for a minute at the level that we're at, because you're going to get hurt. And so lots and lots of good lessons today, painful lessons. It certainly wasn't how I was hoping it was going to go, from a team and from a club and from a personal point of view, but you learn your lessons and you move on.
Do you think today was perhaps the harsh reality of League One football?
Yeah, I thought we saw a bit of that on Tuesday. I thought we played really well on Tuesday and got hurt. I thought today, a team that had been struggling, we wanted to go out. The message was about energy, and I was trying to rinse out every last bit of energy and endeavour that the lads had after what has been a really tough week. we didn't quite manage it. And so I think what was supposed to be a get in their faces from the off, really try and put them under pressure, turned into us hanging in there, and then all of a sudden you're 1 down, 2 down, 3 down, and it looks a very different picture. And second half, the messages go out, you've got nothing to lose, go and play. I don't think we were brave enough to move the ball in the first half, weren't brave enough to get on it and play some of the football we have been playing. And then in the second half, we certainly tried, and we did do some good things, but it's got to be better. Got to be better as staff, got to be better as coaches, got to be better as players. And again, we've spoke a lot about being together. We'll win together and we'll lose together, and this one will really hurt. But then we move on, get up tomorrow, dust ourselves down, and get ready for Forest Green.
Of course, you touched on it earlier, but 2 players you've worked very close with, Ed and Sonny. Big days for those 2. Great to see Sonny on the score sheet, hopefully first of many. And like you said with Ed, it takes a lot to come on the pitch at that point, perhaps unexpectedly.
Yeah, he was the next man up. You stood on the side, you're looking at what options that you've got. It's a big ask for a young man, you know, it really is, to come on in front of a full stadium, in front of your home fans and the team losing and not playing well, to come on and take responsibility like he did. You know, I thought, yeah, he gave the ball away from time to time, but he was brave to get on it again and try. I think he will learn quickly that how you can win the ball aerially at youth football is very different to what it is at, you know, I thought they were very good at disrupting. They didn't win clear flick-ons, but they stopped us from winning things, and that's a lesson that you'll learn quickly. I think Czech Debate learnt it really well, really quick, and I think Ed's going to have to do the same. But, you know, real credit to him. He must have been nervous. It must have been a big thing for him. I'm disappointed for him that he hasn't been able to make his debut in a winning performance, but you can take a lot of credit for how he handled himself. Given the injuries, Sween's obviously suspended. You'll be looking at Saturday, but Tuesday's game in terms of Papa John's Trophy, are we going to expect another fairly young side? Because it's no doubt about it, the league is obviously the priority. Yeah, you know, we're still in a position in the league where we can kick on and go in the right direction. There's obviously a lot to be decided, I think, over the next week, and that will get done, I'm sure. Forest Green's an important game. It's not a terrible game for us in the sense that we've got lads coming back from injury who might be able to get some minutes. We've got young players who will be able to get blooded or make more, get more minutes. But at the same time, we're so low in numbers, and the lads they've put so much in over this week that we've got to just make sure we get the balance right between going for the game, making sure the players get what they need minutes wise, but also looking after those guys that have been probably slightly overworked over the last 7 days.